Hello everyone, we are reading chapter number 3 from our book First Flight, and the name of the chapter is Two Stories About Flying, which is divided into two further stories. And we started reading his first flight, which is a story of a young seagull who was afraid to fly. So his parents, his siblings, all are making a lot of efforts to make him fly, but he is afraid. He could not summon the courage to fly, because he thought that his wings would not support him. So in the previous video we have seen the explanation of the chapter till page number 33. Please open your book on page number 33, and in the last video we saw that his parents, his siblings, all are focusing towards flying and diving, and he also saw that his older siblings also, they are catching the fish, right, and they are taunting him in a way for being coward. So dear kids, this is page number 33 of your book, and the last paragraph we have to start today. The sun was now ascending in the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. He felt that heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. So he is who here? He is the seagull, the young seagull, right? So ascending the sky, what is the meaning of this phrase here? Ascending the sky means rising up. What is it? Rising up. The sun was rising up here, and he was feeling more heat than ever because he had not eaten since the previous night, because he is hungry. His stomach is empty since last night. So next is, he stepped slowly out to the brink. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wings, he closed one eye, then the other. So what he is doing? He is boasting actually to get the attention of his family. He is boasting, and he's trying to he's showing them as if he is sleeping right on the one leg. Please turn over to the next page and pretend to be falling asleep. So here I am reading in the first line, and pretend to be falling asleep. Still they took no notice of him. Still they took no notice of him. He saw his two brothers and sisters lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. What is the meaning of dozing? Dozing means sleeping. Okay, so dozing means sleeping. So as he was doing the drama to sleep, okay, so that his family could notice him. So that time he saw that he saw his two brothers and his sisters were lying on the plateau. So what they were doing? They were sleeping actually, and his father was preening the feathers on his white back. So this word preening means to clean. What is the meaning of this? To clean the feathers of the white black. So what the father was doing at that time? The father was cleaning his feathers with his beak, and only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet, and then scraped each side on her beak on the road. So what was the mother doing at that time? She was standing on another plateau and she was eating the fish. ठीक है, एंड उसने उसको नोटिस किया. सो द सीगल गॉट मैड विद दैट with that sight, with that fish actually, because he was very hungry, right? So the sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way. So he was very hungry that time, and the sight of that food maddened him. पागल हो गया भूख के मारे. And how he loved to tear the food that way, scraping his beak now again to wet it. Wet it means to sharpen it, right? So what he did there, he wanted to get that fish actually, because he was very hungry. Let's see next paragraph. Ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Ga kol al. She screamed back derisively, but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. So derisively means in a manner to showing someone that she or he is stupid. So that is called derisively. Next what he is doing, that to show the ridicule manner of expressing something, that is called derisively. So here next he cried in hunger. This ga ga ga, this is a sound actually, right? So he cried in hunger to his mom, while his mother also, she screamed back angrily. अभी उन्होंने तो आंसर कैसे दिया, एंग्रीली आंसर किया कि तुम मुझे बोल रहे हो कि मुझे खाना दो, खुद उड़ो और फिर खाना लो. So she screamed back actually, right? And angrily she kept on crying, and but she kept calling plaintively. And his mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across it. So he uttered a joyful scream, and after that his mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. थोड़ी थोड़ी देर बाद उसकी मदर क्या कर रही थी, वो she was giving him the sight of the fish, because she wanted that he should fly, right? So he leaned out. Next page. Eagerly tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. So how many times he got excited as she came nearer, and he thought that the mother is going to give him food, but he was too excited, right? So as soon as the mother came nearer, and he also leaned forward, right? But when she was just opposite to him, she halted. लेकिन मदर बहुत एक प्लान यूज़ कर रहे हैं कि जैसे ही वो उनके पास झुकने लगता था, उनकी तरफ को झुकने लगता था, वैसे ही वो हॉल्ट हो जाती थी. हॉल्ट मीन्स स्टॉप. हर विंग्स मोशनलेस, द पीस ऑफ फिश इन हर बीक, ऑलमोस्ट विदाउट द रीच ऑफ हिज बीक. So what happened, suddenly she stopped. Actually she was not standing not too far from him, he could reach actually, but she didn't want that her son, means the seagull, should reach to that fish, right? तो वो थोड़े गैप में खड़ी हो जाती थी ताकि उसकी चोंच वहाँ तक ना पहुँचे. So he waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. अब जो बच्चा भूखा है, so he wanted कि भाई उसको समझ नहीं आ रहा कि मम्मी पता नहीं क्यों मुझे खाना नहीं दे रही है, right? So wondering why she did not come nearer, and then maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. अभी जैसे ही मतलब वो आगे बढ़ा, out of excitement, he dived at the fish without realizing for a moment that he is afraid to fly. अब इतना भूखा है, ठीक है, और उसको ये realize ही नहीं हुआ कि नीचे अगर वो उड़ेगा, अगर वो jump करेगा तो वो नीचे गिर जाएगा, right? With a loud scream he fell outwards and downwards into the space. Ab, the miracle happened, and the mother was successful in her plan. So he got so excited and he fell as soon as he tried to jump towards mother. And for a moment he was in shock and so stood still out of terror. Then a monstrous terror means, monstrous is what? Horrible, right? Seized means what? It's to grab or to hold something. Him and his herd stood still, and all, you know, he was still in terror. He was shocked that अरे हुआ क्या, जैसे वो गिरना शुरू हुआ नीचे की तरफ, सो समझ में नहीं आया कि हो क्या रहा है. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards, and as soon as he jumped, you know, after some time, you know, after a moment you can say, his feathers opened as he flied, right? Then the wind rushed against his breast feathers, or the wind also that was against his feather, against his breast feather, stomach and his wings, right? And he could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. And what he was doing, he could feel the wind against his breast feather, and he could feel himself cutting through the air. उसको ऐसे लग रहा था कि जैसे हवा में उड़ रहा और वो विंड को कट कर रहा है. He was not falling headlong now, right? He was not falling headlong. Headlong means with the head foremost, कि उससे ऐसे नहीं गिर रहा था, वो नीचे की तरफ को गिर नहीं रहा था, लेकिन अब उसको जल्दी से फील हुआ कि वो उड़ रहा है. He was soaring gradually. Soaring means flying, means rising high in the air. That is what? That is soaring. So flying, you can say. Gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid, right? So as he was just a bit nervous, and then his mother accompanied him, and he just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards. अब वो बहुत खुश है, उसकी पूरी मतलब वो उड़ने लग गया है. थोड़ी देर के लिए उसको डिजीनेस हुआ, अनकंफर्टेबल हुआ, अनकॉन्शियस फील हुआ, लेकिन अब थोड़ी ही देर बाद उसको आफ्टर अ मोमेंट जब उसको लगा कि उसके फेदर्स सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं उसको, और उसको पता चल गया कि मैं उड़ पा रहा हूँ, सो ही वॉज वेरी हैप्पी. गा गा गा, गा कॉल आ, हिज मदर swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. उसकी मदर भी साथ साथ में उड़ने लगी. She was also flying with him. Then his father flew over him screaming, and after that the father was also very happy, right? So he came there actually, and earlier he was sitting, actually intentionally he was sitting on the plateau which was in front of the plateau where he was sitting, because the family members, father, mother and the siblings, all of them wanted कि इसको अब उड़ जाना चाहिए. क्या, लेकिन जब जैसे उसने अपनी फर्स्ट फ्लाइट ली और उसके दिल से डर निकल गया, वैसे सभी ने उसको क्या करना शुरू कर दिया, उसको सपोर्ट करना शुरू कर दिया. सो वैसे फादर भी उसके पास आ गए, स्क्रीम करते हुए उसको मतलब उसको बोल रहे हैं कि तुम उड़ो, राइट? और बहुत अच्छे से उसकी फैमिली जो उसका साथ दे रहे. He saw his two brothers and his sisters flying around him, curveting and banking. So curveting means what? It's a it's a series of jumps on the hind legs, right? So he used to do that. And banking and soaring and diving, so the different activities he is doing, and the entire family screamed out of excitement कि अरे शुक्र है उड़ तो गया, and they were celebrating his victory over the fear. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and as soon as he started flying, he overcame his fear. He forgot that he was once before some time, he was afraid to fly, and commended himself to dive, and soar in curve, shrieking shrilly. So shrilly means loudly, and shrieking means cry sound, making high, sound of loud sound, you can say shrieks. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it. Now where he is flying straight over the sea, and he could see the greenery of the sea, of the sea. He saw the vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideway and cawed amusedly. So what he did, he cawed means to utter a sound of ka, okay, बोलना ये ka का जो उसका sound है that. And ridges here means what? Ridges is the hilltop of something, right? Or you can say the narrow hilltop, you can say. So he was he was screaming out of joy, and he was celebrating his victory. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on the green flooring ahead of him. Now the next part of his training came. अभी फ्लाइंग करना तो उसको आ गया था, लेकिन अब उसके जो पेरेंट्स हैं और उसके जो भाई बहन हैं, मीन्स हिज एंटायर फैमिली दैट लैंडेड अलॉन्ग विद हिम in the sea, and his parents and the brothers and the sister had landed on the green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him. So beckoning means to make the gesture, means उसको इशारा कर रहे थे, उसको बुला रहे थे, right? And they were screaming and shouting in excitement. His legs sank into it. अब जैसे ही वो अपने भाई बहनों के साथ अपनी फैमिली के पास आया on the floor of the sea, तो वैसे ही his legs sank into it. पानी में उसकी टांगें डूब गई. He screamed with the fright, and because he experienced it first time, so he was screaming once again, right? And he got scared, you may say. He got panicked, you may say. And he tried to escape, but got tired and weak because of hunger. तो वहाँ से वो भाग नहीं पा रहा था. But he was tired and weak and hunger. He could not rise. Exhausted means tired. Next page. By the strange exercise, right? By the strange exercise. So what is the strange exercise? Strange exercise that he has taken his first flight. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it. So finally what happened? He calmed down. He was not able to actually earlier he just got scared and he tried to escape, but he calmed down after some time with the help of his family, and he started floating. अब उसने पानी में तैरना भी, उसकी बॉडी ऑटोमेटिकली मैकेनिज्म है, तो उसकी बॉडी ऑटोमेटिकली फ्लोट करना शुरू हो गई. एंड ही वॉज फ्लोटिंग ऑन इट, and around him his family was screaming. Again they were celebrating, again they were shouting in excitement and praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. So this dogfish is a kind of fish, it's a variety of fish. And finally he had overcome his fear and had made his first flight. So dear kids, we have learnt in this story that one should bravely face his fears and never give up. And this story also revolves around a young seagull who is afraid to fly, despite the fact that his younger siblings have already taken their first flight and are now flying fearlessly. Right? So what we should do? We should be self confident, right? Because every journey of 1,000 miles begins with but a single step. Thank you very much for today.